You're not afraid of failure, you're afraid of success. And here's the disturbing reality: clinical psychologists have discovered that self-sabotage is not about lacking willpower or discipline. It's your subconscious protecting you from violating the identity you've built around being stuck. Every time you quit right before the breakthrough, it's not bad luck. It's your brain keeping you safe from becoming someone you don't recognize. By the end of this video, I'll reveal the exact identity rewrite protocol that stops self-sabotage at the source. But first, you need to see what staying loyal to your current identity is stealing from your future. Let me show you what's happening right now. You're building something, finally making progress, getting close to a goal, and then you do something to destroy it. You blow the opportunity, you ghost the relationship, you quit the project, and you call it bad timing or bad luck. But it's not. It's self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is not random. It's precise. It appears exactly when success is within reach, because success threatens your identity, and your subconscious will destroy success to preserve identity, every single time. Here's what nobody tells you about self-sabotage. It's not about what you're doing wrong, it's about who you believe you are. You have a self-concept, a set of beliefs about your worthiness, your capabilities, your limits, and that self-concept was built years ago, by your family, by your failures, by your environment, and it's outdated, but your brain doesn't know that. So when you start to exceed the boundaries of that self-concept, your brain perceives it as danger, and it sabotages you to bring you back to the familiar, back to the identity you know. Now here's the brutal part. Every act of self-sabotage reinforces the identity. You quit. You tell yourself, see, I knew I couldn't do it, and that confirmation strengthens the belief. So next time, the sabotage happens sooner. The threshold for success gets lower, until you're sabotaging yourself at the first sign of progress. Not because you don't want to succeed, but because success feels like death to the identity you've been clinging to, and your brain chooses identity over achievement. Every time. Let me tell you what self-sabotage costs you. First, opportunities die. You get the interview, the date, the chance, and you destroy it. Second, trust disappears. People stop investing in you because you're unreliable. Third, self-respect crumbles. You can't respect someone who keeps betraying themselves, and you're watching yourself do it. Fourth, potential rots. Every year you sabotage is a year you stay the same. And staying the same while time moves forward is the same as going backwards. Here's what's actually happening in your brain. You have two systems. Your conscious mind sets goals. I want to be successful. I want to be healthy. I want to be loved. But your subconscious mind runs on identity. I'm not the kind of person who succeeds. I'm not worthy of love. I always fail. And when the goal conflicts with the identity, the subconscious wins. Not through argument, through sabotage. It creates procrastination, distraction, self-destructive choices, anything to prevent you from violating the identity it's been programmed to protect. Now here's the shift that changes everything. You can't overcome self-sabotage by trying harder, because trying harder doesn't address the identity. You have to rewrite the identity. An identity is not changed by affirmations or wishful thinking. It's changed by evidence. You need to collect proof that contradicts the old identity and supports the new one. And proof comes from action. Small, repeated actions that your brain can't deny. Actions that say, I'm becoming someone different. Here's the framework. Self-sabotage operates in 3 stages. The approach, the threshold, the destruction. The approach is when you're making progress toward a goal. The threshold is the moment when success becomes real. The destruction is when you sabotage. Most people only see the destruction. They think I ruined it again. But the destruction was triggered at the threshold, and the threshold is where you need to intervene. Let me show you what the threshold looks like. You're about to finish the project. You're about to have the conversation. You're about to take the leap. And suddenly, you feel resistance, fear, doubt. And instead of recognizing this as the threshold, you interpret it as a sign you're not ready. So you stop. You delay. You self-destruct. But the resistance isn't a sign you're not ready. It's a sign you're about to violate your identity, and your brain is trying to stop you. But here's the trap. Most people think self-sabotage is conscious. They think I'm choosing to fail, but you're not. It's subconscious. You don't wake up and decide to destroy your progress. You just find yourself doing things that destroy it, and afterward, you can't even explain why. Because the why is buried in your subconscious identity, and until you surface it, you can't change it. Here's the psychology. Your identity is built on a set of core beliefs. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success. People like me don't win. And these beliefs were installed when you were young, by parents who doubted you, teachers who dismissed you, experiences that hurt you, and child you internalized those messages as truth, and they've been running your life ever since. Adult you wants success, but child you is terrified of it, and child you is in control of the subconscious. So child you sabotages adult you to stay safe. Now here's where it gets interesting. You can't logic your way out of a subconscious belief. You can't convince child you that they're wrong, but you can show them evidence. Evidence that success is safe, that you're capable, that you deserve it, and evidence is created through repetition. You do the thing you're afraid of, you survive, you do it again, you survive again, and slowly, child you starts to believe, maybe we can do this, and the sabotage weakens. Here's the neuroscience. Every time you push through the threshold without sabotaging, you're creating a new neural pathway, a pathway that says, I can handle success, and the more you use that pathway, the stronger it gets, and the old pathway, the one that says I sabotage when I get close, gets weaker. You're literally rewiring your brain, not through positive thinking, through action, through proving to your subconscious that the new identity is real. Let me give you the protocol. Step 1. Identify your sabotage pattern. When does it happen? Right before success? When things get serious? When you're visible? Step 2. Identify the identity belief driving it. I don't deserve this. I'm a fraud. I always fail. Step 3. Create a counter-identity statement. Not an affirmation. A commitment. I'm someone who finishes. I'm someone who doesn't quit when it gets hard. Step 4. Collect evidence. Every time you don't sabotage, write it down. I felt the urge to quit. I didn't. I'm proving the new identity. Step 5. Repeat until the new identity is stronger than the old one. Here's what happens when you execute this. Week 1, you're catching the sabotage urge but still giving in sometimes. Week 2, you're resisting it more often. Week 3, the urge is weaker. Week 4, you've built enough evidence that the new identity is starting to feel real. And by week 8, the sabotage pattern is broken. Not because you forced it, but because you outgrew the identity that needed it. But here's the part most people miss. You have to be willing to become someone you don't recognize. Because the new identity, the one that doesn't sabotage, is unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels dangerous. So your brain will resist. It will try to pull you back to the known. And you have to override it. You have to say, I know this feels wrong. I'm doing it anyway. Because what feels wrong is just unfamiliar. And unfamiliar becomes familiar through repetition. Here's what elite performers do that most people don't. They expect the sabotage urge. They know it's coming. And when it shows up, they don't panic. They recognize it. This is my old identity trying to protect me. I don't need protection. I need growth. They name it. They thank it. And they move forward anyway. They're not fighting the urge. They're just not obeying it. And non-obedience is what breaks the pattern. Now here's the secret method I promised you. It's called the identity interrogation. When you feel the sabotage urge, you pause. And you ask, who am I protecting by not doing this? And you'll get an answer. I'm protecting the version of me that's safe. I'm protecting the version that doesn't get judged. I'm protecting the version that doesn't have to face failure. And once you identify who you're protecting, you can decide if that version still serves you. And usually, it doesn't. Here's what happens when you interrogate the identity. You realize the version you're protecting is outdated. It was built when you were younger, weaker, less capable. And that version needed protection. But you don't anymore. You're not that person. And protecting them is costing you the person you're becoming. So you make a choice. I release the old version. I choose the new one. And that choice, made consciously, is powerful. Because now the sabotage isn't subconscious anymore. It's conscious. And conscious can be overridden. But here's the trap. Some people interrogate the identity once and expect it to disappear. But identity is stubborn. It's been with you for years. So you have to interrogate it every time it shows up. And every time, you choose the new version. And over time, the old version stops showing up, because it's not being fed. And what's not fed, dies. Here's the identity shift you need. You're not someone who self-sabotages. You're someone who used to self-sabotage when you believed you weren't worthy of success. But you're collecting evidence that you are. And evidence changes belief. And belief changes behavior. So you're not fighting sabotage. You're outgrowing the identity that needed it. And outgrowing is permanent. Fighting is temporary. Let me show you what happens if you don't stop the sabotage. 5 years from now, you're in the same place. Still getting close and quitting. Still wondering why you can't break through. Still blaming external circumstances when the real block is internal. And the gap between where you are and where you could be is massive. Because every time you sabotaged, you stayed the same. And staying the same while time moves forward is decline. Here's the truth. Self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It's a protection mechanism that's outlived its usefulness. It served you once. It kept you safe from judgment, failure, and disappointment. But now it's keeping you safe from success. And success is what you actually want. So the protection has become the prison. And the only way out is to prove to your subconscious that success is safe. And proof is built through action. Now let me tell you what you're losing every day you sabotage yourself. You're losing momentum. You're losing credibility. You're losing time. You're losing the respect of the person you see in the mirror, because you know you're capable of more. And watching yourself sabotage that capability is soul-crushing. It's worse than external failure, because it's self-inflicted, and self-inflicted wounds hurt the most. Here's the protocol for today. Right now, you're going to identify one area where you sabotage: relationships, career, health, and you're going to write down the identity belief driving it. I'm not lovable. I'm not capable. I don't deserve this. Then you're going to write the opposite, not as an affirmation, as a commitment. I'm someone who stays when it gets hard. And tomorrow, when the sabotage urge appears, you're going to recognize it. You're going to interrogate it. And you're going to act in alignment with the new identity. Not because it feels natural, because you're committed. Because stopping self-sabotage is not about stopping the urge. It's about not obeying it. The urge will come. The old identity will fight. But you don't have to listen. You can feel the pull and move forward anyway. You can hear the voice and choose differently. You can recognize the pattern and break it. And breaking it once makes breaking it again easier. Until you've broken it so many times that it's not a pattern anymore. It's just an old story you used to believe. Stop self-sabotage. Not by trying harder, but by becoming someone who doesn't need to sabotage. Someone who's proven they're worthy of success. Someone who's collected enough evidence that the old identity doesn't fit anymore. And that someone has built one non-sabotaged moment at a time. Starting now. What's the one area you're refusing to sabotage today? And what action are you taking to prove the new identity? Answer that. Execute. And watch the pattern break.